Woman, how are you?
Hey Lucy, really good, thank you.
It's so good to see you. You haven't been out of Soul to Soul for too long now. What would it be, like a month or
Just over 2 weeks.
2 weeks? So it feels like you've been gone for ages because you were like such a powerhouse in that vortex. So to me, it feels like a month.
Yeah, well, I feel like I've done a lot of things like since then already. So, time expands, I guess.
Yes, it does. And I can't wait for the updates on this call. So if you could just introduce yourself, Kate, that would be great. And then we'll get started.
Hi, so I'm Kate and I'm 31 from Sydney. And for work, I work in sales and training of radiology equipment. So it's a job that keeps me very, very busy was the word I used to describe it.
Okay, so we can get to the news story after. And you look so radiant and so embodied and just content right now, just happy in your skin. But I'm going to be meanie pants and get you to just drop back into meanie pants. Like, have I ever used that description about myself before? No. The big bad wolf, to just drop back into where you were, Kate, when you booked that call and had that conversation with Marty. Just to take a moment to just connect back here. If you need to close your eyes, whatever. I know it's not fun to go back there. But just go back to that version of Kate. Where were you then?
Yeah, like for me, I was very much stuck. Stuck was the word, actually. That's the best word to describe it.
Yeah.
I had a job that I enjoyed, and I felt like so many parts of my life were complete, except the soulmate aspect. It just, wasn't meeting anyone. I was on this merry-go-round of dating, and I just, I was in plan B of how I was going to do all of this stuff, have children by myself. I was resigned to that fact. I just didn't like modern dating. I was angry at myself, and I think even though like I loved all these other parts of my life, I think I still just felt like a bit like I was stuck wherever I was, just like things had kind of happened to me rather than me deciding them.
Happening to you instead of for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you just feel back into, and again, you may need to close your eyes just to go back to this place because I know you've completely shifted out of this, but how did you feel about love and about yourself back then when you were feeling stuck?
Oh, yeah. It's like I said, I don't want to go back there because
I know, I can tell.
I was like, in my brain, I was like, yeah, I love myself. Yeah, I'm a good catch. But in my heart, I was like, nah, like, no one will love me. And like, see?
Yeah, it's making emotional. Yeah, it's beautiful though. But thanks for sharing that with us. Keep going with that.
Yeah, but I didn't feel that until I was talking to Marty. I didn't feel it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't allow myself to feel how I actually felt. And now I feel so differently. But when I go back there, I can cry again, just feeling it.
Yeah, but and you know what's so beautiful? You're making me cry too, is the how you just suddenly went there. Like, that's vulnerable, and that shows how much access you now have to your emotions. You are not numb anymore.
Nope.
The fact that you just were sitting there all seriously, like happy, and then it took you back there and you're just like, boom, in there. That's because you're now living connected with your heart again.
Yeah, totally. And like to just be able to say, hang on, get out of your head. Like you even kind of just did it then. You're like, actually, no, go back. And I could just find it. And I think, yeah, I was numb, but I didn't know it. I had no idea I was numb.
Chills. That is so profound, Kate, those words. And I know there are women watching this right now that are also crying. Like, I am full body chilling. And I didn't know I was numb either.
Yeah.
Like, it's so deceptive when we are ticking the boxes in our life. We're in autopilot. We've got our bodyguards, our protection on, and we're telling ourselves, yeah, I'm a good catch. It'll just happen one day. Until you suddenly get to a point where you're like, yeah, but it hasn't happened. It's not happening. I'm not the one that men are choosing. And then when you stop, like you just did then, to actually feel it, it's like, that hurts my heart. You know?
Yeah, and you tell yourself all these reasons why it doesn't hurt and why you're okay. and you never let yourself sink into it. So I didn't cry about this before, like just then. That wasn't a normal sort of response I would have had 3 months ago. I would have been like, yeah, no, I'm good, he's coming, you know, just keep putting myself out there. He's there, like, yep, I'm a good catch.
Yes.
But the way I actually felt was so different. And it wasn't until the breakthrough calls where I was like, oh, like that is how it actually feels.
Truth.
And it wasn't a good feeling.
No, it's chills again, because and therapy doesn't do this. Okay, I wouldn't have such a successful business if therapy was doing its job. And I'm not writing off therapy for the people watching this. If you're doing therapy, it has its place. I'm just saying that when you keep talking about things, like if you were, I don't think you went to therapy. If you did, Kate, you would have been one of those people that had maybe gone to therapy for 5 years, but deadpan, like talking, here's my stuff, and not actually getting in there to the core of your heart. And that's the issue. And I'm just putting it under the therapy banner, but you can put it under a lot of other things that are out there where we're trying to fix ourselves. None of us are broken. But what happens is we start getting smaller and smaller with what we allow into our life, and we get our heart and we close it. But that does not equate to being broken. It just means we've contracted and turned on ourselves and our light. And with you, even in this first part of the call, it was almost a bit of like avoidance, like, no, I don't really feel like going back there, Lucy. And then I'm like, okay. And I didn't have to try very hard. And then you just dropped. And so there is a huge shift because it's right there on your heart, and you didn't turn away, or you were just like, yep, here it is, because you know that feeling and that connection to your heart is fucking prime. It's gold. Whereas before it was like, don't let me go there. It's weak. I can't show that.
Yeah, I think the weakness, I associated, you know, feelings with weakness for some reason. It was just, you know, my mentality about things. So being able to be like level-headed and go through a step-by-step list to make stuff happen was just how I thought things should be. Like I actually prided myself on that. Yeah. And to kind of realize that I've actually been shutting out, you know, a side of myself that is so important to who I am and how I make decisions. And now I can connect it, because I can still be, you know, step by step in how I do something. That's not a bad thing, but, you know, you can allow in so much more intuition and how you're actually feeling into that plan.
That's the feminine. And that is what I've seen you just take the lid off from when you came in. And you were showing up. The whole way through, you showed up in the process. And that's the deal for those of you watching. Soul to Soul doesn't happen to you. You are the powerful co-creator. We have the process and the platform and the support. But you, my darling ones who are watching this, you know, if you're looking at Kate and really feeling her, she showed up guns blazing. Even though there was a lot of resistance when you first came in, there was resistance of like, really, can this work for me? And sort of, if I hadn't sort of been on you, I feel like you might have even been 1 foot in, 1 foot out and kind of dabbled with it, but you just went, boom, all right, I'll just do this stuff. I'm going to let it, see if I can let it affect me. And it did. And then you started to grasp it. And then I'm just like, all right, she's off to the races now. So instead of me doing all the talking, I'd love to hear from you to share with these beautiful women that are really needing the catalyst right now to help them come back to their greatness. Like, what was so powerful in your experience, Kate, your journey with Soul to Soul and the process for you?
Yeah, I think, honestly, it's just coming home to, you know, who you are and how you feel about things, what you want in life, and loving yourself. Because, yeah, I felt like I was just building a life that from the outside in looked really good. Like that was, you know, how would this look to other people? Like, is this decision a good decision? Yes. Would people approve of it? Totally. And I think I never just let myself be like, what do I want to actually do? And so the program just kind of taught me that in so many ways. Like, there's so many aspects to it. There's not a single piece I could pull out that said this was the catalyst or this was the bit that made the change, but it was this progressive change over 8 weeks, where at the end of it, all of a sudden I was just, well, not all of a sudden, but it was the process. But at the end of it, I just could, you know, feel powerful and know that whatever I wanted, I could make happen, and that I could love myself. And I feel really excited about dating again. And just like, it's empowering. That's the feeling, and a sense of relief, like a relief that I can just say, you know what, the past is the past. Like all these stories I told myself can go away now. Like that's not part of me. That's just my, stories that I told myself.
The old identity, the old worldview of how you were perceiving love and also yourself in the world, like that's shifted now because you're sitting in, you can feel it, you're just sitting in who Kate Handel is without needing to explain anything or pretend anything.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, it is just the way that you come home to yourself and work out exactly what you want and start being inspired to create that.
That life.
Yeah.
And so you had some real gold nuggets during the program with your soul sisters talking about like, how did dating used to occur for you? What did it used to feel like?
And dating, I was on like all the apps and I'd go on a couple of dates a week and I would always end up with these kind of like short-term relationships that was like a few dates where you'd end up ghosting each other. So I'd either ghost him, he'd ghost me, we'd both mutually ghost each other just because we just weren't connected, like we weren't that into each other. And I was thinking, I had moments where I thought, is there something wrong with me because I'm not that into them? Like it wasn't me being so desperate for them.
Yes.
It was me being like, I really want to be in love, but I'm just not in love with this person. Yes. And then I think they had the same feeling for me, like, oh, I like her, she's nice, but I'm just not like connected. And so I was just frustrated and I used to just talk about it with my friends all the time. Like I used to joke that I could have a podcast where I exclusively talked about the dates I'd been on where something ridiculous had happened or where, you know, I don't know, just like talking about negative dating experiences because there weren't enough positive ones to talk about.
Yes. And I relate to that where I was like, oh my God, listen to this dating story. And it's like that we're going to have a wine and then talk about my sad life, really. But I made it humorous because that's what we cover up with, you know, or at least we try and think that, well, we're justifying that experience. But what I heard you say, and I want you girls to hear this, is you wanted to like him and he wanted to like you, but both ways, you just weren't connecting. You were like going like that. And what you were actually doing was you were dating like this and he was dating like this. And so there was no connection because your hearts weren't open. You weren't standing in all your glorious power and essence, the feminine that you've mastered now, you've embodied now. And now you're like this, facing ready to receive. So now you can only attract a man who's also got his heart open, who's ready to receive. And then it looks like that. And that's unity, and that's soul to soul, soul to soul, soul on soul, soul with soul, instead of this. And that is most of the world right now. And especially during these times, people are discovering, well, hang on a minute, without the fancy trips and fanging around in the Bentley, I've got to be with this person all the time. And I don't know that we actually do get on that well when we're not busy 24/7, being these certain people in the world. That's what's happening right now. Things are getting unearthed and revealed and the truth is coming out. So what a phenomenal time for you to really step into who Kate Handel is during a pandemic, where you're like, fuck yeah, I'm going to have a soulmate relationship during a pandemic. And, you know, all the other things in your life, which are opening up for you, you know, that's who you're choosing to be when a lot of the world are actually going into contraction. You're actually like, no, bring it on.
Totally. Yeah. I'm like, yep, I'm ready.
It says a lot about you and who you are. And for those of you watching that are just being done with being told like all these things are happening now, you've just got to, you know, play safe. Take this message as the permission that you need to do whatever the fuck you want right now. If you choose to step up and back yourself, you will literally be where Kate Handel is right now. Because yes, there was doubt at the beginning of the process, you know, I hope this works. That's normal, right? What would you say, Kate, to soul sisters in here that have been, you know, in the free group and watching this and watching other testimonials who are like really, really interested, but there's still kind of that like, oh, it might work for her, but I don't know if it worked for me. Like, what would you say to someone who was in your shoes over 8 weeks ago?
I'd just say do it. And the reason that you're here in this group is that something is speaking, Lucy's speaking directly to your heart. The testimonials are, you know, I felt this decision for me was very heart focused. So I learned to connect with my heart on the breakthrough calls. And then when it came to accepting and deciding to go for it, that was a heart decision, 100%, because it just felt right. It was like, okay, everything that's happened so far in this process has connected with me in a way that I haven't felt about so many other decisions I've made in my life. And so I just did it. And even, you know, the resistance part, because, you know, I was not used to connecting with my heart. I was used to just like, this is how it's going to be, like, this is what you need to do to succeed in it. And then suddenly it was a bit different to that in how we showed up. And so I just had to trust that. And then I've come out of it, and now I'm really connected with my heart. And every decision I make now, I'm like, how does that sit? Like, is that what I want? Because that first decision of joining the program was sort of my brain saying, oh, but there's all these things you don't know, but my heart saying yes.
Yes, that's so freaking powerful, because it's too easy. And that's why my heart breaks if we, you know, and Marty's on the calls, my team are on the calls, but, you know, when we're rooting for someone, and the thing is, you know, these calls are not about getting you into the program. We send a lot of people away because we're looking for an attitude. It's not what's in your bank account. We can always get resourceful. We are looking for women that are going to co-create the magic, because it takes two. You know, you don't want to do a program where the coach is going to tell you that they're going to change your life. I don't change your life. You change your life. I hold the space and I guide you with the process and my team, but it's all you, Kate. And this is why, you know, that's empowerment. You don't want a guru. You don't want someone that's at the end wanting you to say, thank you, you changed my life, because no, you did it. And so it really comes down to, it's profound what Kate said, because we are wired to be like analytical, and I better check off and do a pros and cons list. And is there a written guarantee? No, there's not. The only guarantee is death and taxes. And if anyone gives you a guarantee in a program, I would run, because they're not telling you that no matter what program's out there, you have to be active in the process. And that's the power of soul to soul, where every step of the way, Kate, right, you're out of your comfort zone, you're having to show up, you're having to actually do the lives and bring yourself in. Like, it's very activating and integrating. It's not just here's all the materials and you go off and do it yourself. No, because that doesn't work. I know with me, when I've done those programs, I get up to like module 2 and then I'm just like, oh, actually Netflix. Whereas if I know there's a community of women that are going to freaking call my shit out, and I have to show up, right, all the time, and there's that level of intensity, I'm in. Plus there's that momentum that starts to build, and it's addictive. So it is a new territory to make a decision from your heart. I recognize that with you and all the queens that have come through. We're not used to doing that. It's as crazy as it is. Now that's the only way I live. And when I don't do things from my heart, it doesn't work out, right? So what you just said, I could do a whole teaching on, because even now, and I won't go into this conversation, it's another conversation, but even with what's going on in the world right now, we are shifting. We're pretty much all the way out of 3D consciousness and into the 5D consciousness. 3D are the lower energies, the scarcity, the lack, the doubt, the anxiety, depression, and we're being pulled into another stratosphere, which is the love dimension, the 5D dimension, where, thank God this is happening, that we can all actually be present for each other and to love on each other and to celebrate each other and to connect with each other. Like, that's what's happening at a really deep level. So I get carried away, obviously, with these conversations, but you really set this off into motion, Kate, when you said, you know, this was not coming from a normal decision place for you. And I just wanted to highlight that, because I used to be that person as well, where I would just be in a lot of doubt and fear and scarcity, and I wanted to know everything up front. But that's not how we attract in love, because love is not that checkbox thing that you're like, well, I'll just order this guy and blah, blah, blah. However, when you do the work to open your heart and you get clarity on exactly what you want, then you put the order into the universe, and the universe can bring it to you, because your light is on and your door is open. I can hear a husband, and I can hear, no, can't hear a baby, but I hope he's got her. Thank you so much, Kate. Before we go, is there anything else that you've done before Soul to Soul?
No.
Wow, lucky you.
Yeah, I know. I found it straight up. Yeah, I'd never done anything. I didn't, because I was so in my head of, no, there's nothing you can do to fix it. Like, maybe it's just, you know, your personality is not exciting. People are not that interested. So, you know, You just deal with it. Like, I didn't think it was something that I could change. And that's not me changing my personality at all. That's me coming into exactly who I am.
More
Truly.
of all of who you are. Yes.
So it's completely the opposite. It's not walking away from that and saying, well, that personality didn't work. It's saying, no, actually your personality did work. You just were closed off. Like, you're like this.
Yes. So now Kate, as you can see, is in a total soulmate relationship with herself. How do you feel about Kate Handel right now?
Yeah, really good. I really like it. Yeah, I just feel very positive, and I just think, like, if there's something that I want to go and do, I'll just do it. Like, I'm not feeling held back in myself in any way.
And how do you feel about love?
Very excited, because I just know that, when the right person does come along, that I'm going to be myself with them, and I'm not going to hide parts of myself. I'm just going to be myself. And then that will, make everything will just flow more easily. Because, as you're saying, instead of going like this, we're like this.
And that is the simplest, easiest way to understand, for those of you watching, this journey. I don't want you to think it's like rocket science. It's not. Is it going to take something? It's going to take courage. It's going to take commitment, and it's going to take you showing up and not making excuses and hiding, because you'll get booted out of the program. Like, I don't hold space for that, because you can't change. I'm here to hold space to show you, like, this is who you really are, and you're fucking extraordinary, and, snap out of the victim story, because we can all go there. And I lived there for a long time, and it fucking sucks. And we think we're so justified with all our reasons why things aren't working. Like, I was telling myself, I'm not soulmate material. I'm just, the MC or the bridesmaid. And I bought into that shit. I was a fun girl who was always going to have these fun stories, just like you were talking about. I relate to that so much. And we get so caught up in that identity that we stop to go, hang on, you're treating yourself like a fucking peasant. You're treating yourself like shit. Instead of advocating for ourselves and being like, darling, I love you. You're amazing. Yes, you deserve the husband and the whole kit and caboodle. Not just a husband, but like a heart-centered relationship with a man who loves you and supports you. And then what you've done is you come home so you can support Kate and love on Kate. And that's why you're just like radiating a lot of love, a lot of joy, a lot of peace. That's what you're radiating right now. So thank you so much for coming on to chat. And is it okay if people reach out to you?
Yeah, of course.
Don't bombard her, because she's going to be busy receiving all this love. Right? I can feel it. He's not far away. And thank you so much, Kate, for coming on and sharing your story with us. I'm really, really proud of the woman that you have stepped into and that you are becoming, because it's still an ongoing process, right?
Yep. And thank you for an amazing program. And as you're saying, like, you're empowering us to change our lives. So, we do your program, but we are continuing to just be our true selves onwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just get so excited, because I'm unleashing these freaking amazing women into the world, being like, thank you, light warrior goddesses who are, joining me in this quest to up level the consciousness, showing women like what's possible, because there has been a lot of this, boss lady and I am woman, hear me roar. And really, when we're truly embodied in our greatness, like, we don't need to show it. We just be it. We don't need to freaking, I am now taking up space. You just take up space. Don't make a big thing about it. It's very different energy. It's very feminine instead of this masculine kind of thing. I think that's where a lot gets lost out there. It's almost can be competition with men as well, or there's a lot of anger at men, instead of like, no, we need men to rise as well. So now, Kate, because you've done this work, your equal is just like so excited to meet you. And I'm excited to hear all about it. So thank you so much. Hang 10, because I want to chat with you. Okay, bye.